Well, hey guys, welcome to Bow Hunting Soul. Okay, so getting near hunting season, right? And what knife are you going to take in the woods? Stick around, we'll find out. Well, hey guys, all right, so it's the probably almost middle of August at this point. We're only a couple weeks into this. We've got we got like 5 weeks basically before the start of hunting season. So you're going through your gear, you're going through stuff, and maybe if you're new to this, right, you're like, well, what do I take in the woods? What do I, as far as a knife goes, right? I mean, every good hunter, outdoorsman, or whatever needs a good knife. What do you use? What do you really need? Well, we're going to go through at least certain different styles of knives that you could possibly take into the woods that you might, that might be beneficial to you. They're going to go through the kind of the pros and cons of everything like that, and then you can make an educated decision. So on the table over here, I've got some knives, and I'll do like close-ups of these, by the way, or I'll bring them up close to you. So, man, the choice of knife is it's kind of like it might be like a tender subject for a lot of people, right? Because it's almost like, what backpack are you going to carry, what bow are you going to carry, and what's your favorite broadhead, right? I mean, people get into arguments about this. So the point is, have a knife. Okay, number one, have a knife on you, and then we can deal with the rest. Now, there's really nothing that you can't do with any of these knives on here, with the exception of maybe this little tiny guy here. We'll get to that one. Where one does it, spectacularly better than the other, right? Let's say you get an animal down. Let's just say, like deer. We'll talk deer here, and we'll go to small game later, but let's just say deer. Guys who have forgotten their knives back at the truck or whatever. I mean, they've butchered deer with their broadheads. Okay, so it can be done. But so let's go through different types of knives. So of course, this is the Hiko Ito one, right? I did a longer video on this one. Go check that one out. I finally got to use this knife on a hog hunt back in June here, and it worked great. Now, this is his EDC Skinner Light, okay? So if you notice, it's got kind of like a longer kind of belly on it, okay? And that's basically for kind of longer swipes while you're trying to, skin back something, peel back something. Now, first, I wasn't really sure if something with this much of a belly would work on field dressing game, right? Now, it wasn't that much of a problem, but I wasn't actually really field dressing this this hog. It was about 100-pound hog, so I mean, smaller or similar in size, let's say, to like a small deer, like a very small deer. Okay, very small, but I mean, similar things. It's got a tough hide, it's got hair, it's got all the things you got to deal with deer or any other kind of animal like that. You're going to deal with hogs. So let's just, we can make an umbrella statement here. This worked fantastic. It worked amazing. Now, again, I didn't field dress it. I ended up hanging this thing up, and I ended up skinning it, and I ended up deboning it or quartering it and then deboning it. And this worked fine. It's thick enough. And I can't remember the specs on this. I apologize as far as the thickness and things like that. But it's very light. It's got this paracord on here, which I actually liked. If you notice, it still has a little bit of, I don't know, blood and viscera, I suppose you would call it on there. So I don't know, it adds character. But you can take the paracord wrap off or leave it on if you need extra paracord for something in the woods. Well, you got it on you there. So anyway, so there's that. We've got the tried and true Buck 110, right? I mean, this is just iconic. Mine's kind of, I beat it up. Unfortunately, I broke all this, and this is an older one, but it's a it's an awesome knife. I mean, the heft on this thing, it's not the lightest thing in the world, but I mean, just the grip and the smooth, handle on these, like the scales on these. Scales, by the way, are handles, right? And I believe like the brass ends on here, they're called bolsters, right? It's just so nice, and it almost fits. Like it's got a lock back here, but when you open it up and listen to that nice thunk. Right, I mean, that's just satisfying, and there's just something so satisfying when you thunk and you're about to start work on an animal that you just got down. It's almost an iconic look and an iconic sound, right? But the blade shape is it's like a clip point, I believe, as they call that, right? Because they're almost like this point would be like clipped off, right? That's a clip point. You notice it's a lot longer, skinnier blade. It doesn't have as much of a belly down here, and that's, it's going to be, if you're going to do, I don't know, more intricate work, getting into finer spaces, if you need to cut the back end out of a deer, if you when you're doing that, this might work a little better. Although, honestly, this worked just fine doing that with that hog. Okay, It's not that much of a, I mean, it's different for sure, but it's not that much of a difference. But this is certainly iconic. This thing's been around for, God, I can't remember. I mean, since the 50s, maybe. I'm not sure, but buck 110. You know, and I'm not going to get into steels and stuff. I like easily sharpenable steels. I'm not a huge fan of like these crazy high end like super steels and you know, I don't know, whatever. But something easy to sharpen, because no matter what, okay, I don't care how sharp your blade is. I've never had a blade, you know, high-end steel or not, that I didn't have to sharpen, at least touch up a little bit with a ceramic rod in the field, right? You're going to go through, you're going to hit bone, you're going to go through tough hide, maybe hair, you know, cut through stuff. So always have a little, you know, just sharpener with you, so just to touch up that edge. But there you go, there's a buck 110, right? This could be an option. Now this thing usually comes with, I got a nice leather sheath for it. But again, this isn't light. I mean, if you're one of these, you know, cut the back end of your toothbrush off of people, right? This probably isn't going to be the knife for you. Now, what's not on here, I'm going to say this right off the bat, is I don't have any like the Havalons or the Gerber, the razor knives, right? I've tried both of them. I have videos on both of them. Again, personal choice. I don't like them. I don't like on the Havalon. You need an extra pair of pliers, or, you know, Leatherman or something like that, which, you know, I don't actually have out here, which, by the way, you can use a Leatherman too to do any of this stuff. It's just going to get more like stuff, you know, inside the nooks and crannies and cavities, like fat and wax and that kind of stuff. And, you know, we'll you know, that's a consideration. But you know, something like this is heavy. Something like a Havalon is really light, but changing that blade on there, man, is it sketchy. Okay, and I've had too many of them snap and break, even when you're trying to not put like side torque, you know, when you're inside the body cavity or something like that, or if you're trying to pop a joint, you know. I don't like them. The Gerber one, my problem with that is it's got a better, easier blade retention, and you know, on off, it's got a little button, but like half of that blade is almost rendered unusable because it sits in a kind of little like holder, like you know, the blade clips into like a little holder and it overlaps the blade. You still have the bottom edge kind of showing, but again, it gets packed full of stuff. I tried them for a couple seasons, and I went away from them. So if you're a fan of things like Taito or Tito or knives, or Havalon or Gerber or whatever, by all means do it. But I went away from it. Plus, if you snap one of those suckers off in there, and then you're going in there, you know, into body cavity or whatever, and you're doing stuff, it's sketchy, man. I just, you know, more power to you. I tried it, don't like it, won't use them again. So, all right, so we've got the buck 110, right? We've got, you know, fixed blade like this, like I said. Again, and a fixed blade doesn't necessarily have to be this shape. It can be, you know, a different blade design, right? And what I kind of alluded to earlier was, with a fixed blade, you can actually clean stuff a little bit better than you can with a folding knife. With a folding knife, whether it's that buck or you know, Leatherman or whatever you happen to be using, you're going to get, again, viscera. You're going to get fat, you know, meat, you know, clumps, whatever, hair stuff that kind of gets into all the little nooks and crannies and crevices. It's harder to clean out. With a fixed blade, you just basically just hose it out, right? I mean, I can hose this again, like I said, it's kind of got some stuff still in there, but there's nothing to it. You just wipe it off, hose it off. There's no nooks and crannies for things to get caught up into, and that could be, you know, less hassle down the road. Now you can go the old school route. Okay, this is just like a regular old, like, this is this like a trapper model maybe? This is a kissing crane knife, but I mean, you can, you know, I have case, Schrade, whatever, right? They're all kind of the same. None of these actually, these don't necessarily lock. They're you know, just kind of spring. I can't remember the term for it. I apologize, but it doesn't actually lock. So you could potentially, if you're going to torque something, like kind of have this kind of fold onto your finger like that. Okay, but again, you have to be smarter than the tool. Don't do things that they're not meant to do. And something like this, for example, it's got what's called a spay blade. Okay, literally, when farmers use this to spay sheep, right? But this kind of blade, for example, is really good if you're going to do the body cavity, and you're not going to have the super sharp point to potentially nick into the stomach or intestines or whatever, right? So you can use this for skinning. Again, it's shut this here. You know, something like this. You got a little more of kind of like a sweep belly on here, so you can kind of, you know, sweep as you're skinning. So you can use that. Again, this isn't really meant for a lot of like hard side torque or whatever, but it actually does the job. I've done a deer with this one because it's the knife that I actually had on me, and it's kind of old school nostalgia. Like don't again, the whole point of this video is like, don't let anyone tell you that you need the latest and greatest, you know, like half-ounce titanium knife, you know, razor or whatever to you know, to gut animals, right? Or to process animals. You just don't. You just have to be smarter than your tool, keep your stuff sharp, and it'll be just fine. So something like this, okay, again, kind of heavier, right? But I mean, people, all kinds of people's grandpappies, you know, did the job with this one. So we got that, right? And then if you don't have that, good old Swiss Army knife. Okay, great blade, super sharp, easy to sharpen. This is, I believe, the Tinker. No, this is the Hiker. I can't remember. It's got a saw on it, so it's got a, I think it's like the Hiker or whatever. Either way, okay, something like this. If it's not ideal, right? Again, you're not going to apply a lot of whole side torque to things, but if you don't have a knife, or if you forgot your knife, or if you're kind of a minimalist, you can field dress, okay? You can gut and skin a deer or a hog or whatever with one of these, okay? It's got multiple blades, obviously. I'm not going to go through all of them, and I'm not going to go through the benefits of having like a Swiss Army knife or a like a Leatherman tool or some sort of multi-tool with you in the woods. But this one, again, also has a saw. I love, by the way, Victorinox saws. They're fantastic. They work amazing. So if you were one of these guys that need to kind of saw through something or bone or whatever, it might take you a little while, but or a rib cage. Usually don't I mean, rib cage is overblown. You just really like bang 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 and you know, pull hard, and you can actually just go up on either side of that and just do the ligaments. But anyway, people feel the need to cut the ribs. If you want to cut the ribs, go ahead. Same with the pelvic girdle. If you're going to do that, I don't do that, never found a need for it. But or if you just need to, you know, do any kind of woodsmanship, you know, cut you know, dead wood or whatever, deadfall, that kind of stuff, this is always good to have on you anyway. So anyway, so this is an option. Okay, I'm not saying go out and say this is going to be your primary hunting knife, but you should have something like this, again, or a multi-tool, again, in your pack anyway. Come on, you should have it, right? So if you have this, yes, you can use this. Don't fret, right? All right, so the last thing, we're going to come this little guy, okay? Something that's near and dear to my heart, small game. This knife and ones like it have field dressed countless squirrels and rabbits, mostly squirrels. Okay, little, you know, cheap single blade. This is a buck too. I can't remember what number it is. 379, I guess it's a buck number 379. But again, lots of other companies make this, like Schrade, you know, Kershaw, whatever, it doesn't matter. Something small like this. I always have this anyway, and I always have something like this within reach, whether I will have a knife within reach anyway. If I'm climbing a tree, we kind of went through climbing safety, tree stand safety, saddle safety, that kind of thing. You always need a knife within reach to be able to cut yourself free of something, right? And even if this is in your pocket, that'll do the job. But this always stays in my backpack, and something small like this works perfect on small animals, right? You don't necessarily want to be doing all that on a squirrel with this guy, right? It's just, you just can't get in there and do any kind of intricate stuff. But anyway, so there you have it. I mean, you've got your buck, you got your custom knife. Okay, lots of awesome custom knives makers out there. Okay, like Hiko Ito, you know, Travis Styles from Broken Compass. I mean, lots of they make fantastic stuff, right? So you can actually have something a little bit more special than something that's mass produced. But then again, there's something so cool and nostalgic about this, but it comes at a cost of weight, right? You've got that, then you got even more nostalgia, something like this. So either way, okay, go afield with a knife, a good knife. Learn how to sharpen it, learn how to take care of it. I know you probably noticed there's a couple of rust spots on there that I gotta take care of on this one over here. So and be aware of the knife's capabilities. Okay, will it hold up to any kind of side torque or twisting? Are you going to snap it? Is a tip going to snap? Does it dull relatively quickly? You know, does it get packed full of, you know, fat and grease and all, and hair and hide and all that stuff? So think about all that stuff, make an educated decision. But for God's sakes, don't set foot in the woods without a knife. And in fact, I don't go anywhere without some sort of like little knife or multi-tool or on me anyway in general. Do I have it on me? Yeah, I do have it on me. Actually, my number one favorite tool that I carry like nonstop, it goes everywhere with me, is this Leatherman PS4 Squirt. It's got a tiny little blade, right? Again, you could probably do small game with this one too, but this I use like 99.99% of the cutting tasks that I need. So anyway, have something on you. But anyway, that's it. Okay, I'm not gonna sort of 15-minute video. So learn how to sharpen, learn your tools, carry it with you, and if you got any comments, leave them below. I'd love to hear what knives you guys carry, your experiences with them. I'll leave links for a couple of these below. Hiko's knives. I'll leave links for some of these other ones down there too, so you can check them out if you want to. So, all right, guys. By the time you see this, hunting season will probably be maybe a couple weeks away. I'm not sure when this video is going to release, but it's going to be really, really close. So be safe. Best of luck, and leave comments below. Thanks for watching.